Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday, and as always, we are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned off this last week on their platform. Soccer cards are still roaring, and that's going to be the theme of this episode. It is hot and heavy, and so let's go ahead and just get started here, why don't we? So we're starting at 300 bucks this week. As I mentioned, a lot of big cards, a lot of big prices especially. And so we start with a decent number here at 300. We begin with Piola, later career, but still during playing career. Nanina, this is the same set as the Puskás rookie, and this goes for 312 in a pretty solid grade. Next to it, Garnacho PSA 8. You have a Fergie Heroes that we've been seeing a good bit of lately for whatever reason. Above it, one of many Prism Golds we'll be seeing, 2022 and 2014 alike. Not many 2018s, but nonetheless, we will see many of them. So this won't be anything unique. Well, they're unique, but not in this auction block, right? Kobe Mainu, rookie. Yep, 2022 Merlin Chrome Red. PSA 9 goes for 350. This Zahor Cruyff PSA 6 goes for 370, which is a fair price in comparison. There's been PSA 4s that have gone for this price. There's PSA 8s that have gone for this price. So ultimately, a 6 at this price doesn't seem crazy. Keeping it moving, not a whole lot in this row. We got Aluminium all here. These are actually still doing pretty good. The Silver Prism Messi's up quite a bit as well. This could have been had for 150 bucks or so last year, 200 bucks for sure. Currently sitting at nearly 400. Alternatively, 2006 PSA 8 Messi for 396, along with a Gold Power Diego Maradona and an Endrick sticker there from 2024 Copa America. You have another 2014 Prism, well, another Gold Prism, but here a 2014 Gold here of Marussia Isla, PSA 9 goes for 420. A R9 rookie PSA 6 for 420. This actually is a rookie. Sometimes they mislabel these as rookies when they're not. But this is a 94-95. It has 95 in the title for some reason. Don't know why. Vinny IP Auto seems like a decent price at 430. Take your choice here. Whatever gold prism you'd want. Personally, none of the players really stick out too much for me myself. So I would just take the PSA 9 and get the highest grade you can there. Although all of these are pop 1 of 1 and higher. So for whatever that's worth. IP Messi Auto here for 492. We have a 1962 World Cup trophy Pele, PSA 4 Pele. Someone gave me grief about that recently for not saying Pele's name correctly. I'm an American, all right? I can pronounce anything however I want because I'm a dumb American that doesn't know soccer, all right? Let me pronounce things the way I'd like because it's just easier, you know? I don't want to try hard here. This is supposed to be fun. Anyways, cool looking card for sure from 1962 World Cup win, of course, there. Pop 1 of 9, 7 higher. I think I looked it up, but I closed it. What are we looking at here? I don't even know what this is. There's nothing even here. Oh, it was the Silver Messi. Okay, I checked out the graph here. And I guess we can just go ahead and confirm what I was saying a bit ago, that this initially was 150 at its lows over the last, couple of years, and now is sitting at close to 400. Ultimately, they were worth a good bit at one point in time, definitely have come down, but it is what it is. As for this Pele, this could have been, it's a low price or a high price depending on what comps you want to take. So alternatively, or ultimately, I would say it's just a medium price and probably about fair. I like the card, though, personally, and would definitely be one I'd like to add to the PC at some point. 2014 Gold here, 500 for a PSA 10, which for a PSA 10, not bad. Not bad at all. That's probably a steal, to be honest, but nonetheless. Hyper 2022 Messi for 504. You got this terrible-looking IP auto Erling Haaland. I mean, his auto's already terrible, but now it's a black, crazy-looking auto on a black jersey card. It's just terrible. Then you got a Neymar gold border here from Topps Museum. Playing days, but, clearly wasn't on Barca at the time, so it's sort of a throwback. You have a PSA 9 Mbappe here for 528. This is up a good bit. These were around 300 to 400, I do believe, for a good period of time. Now sitting at 520. Not sure how to pronounce it, but I'm going to go Caligaris. And this is a 1924 Helvetia Sport, a release that's known for a few other people, also some racers as well, and so you got a lot of Italian greats in there. Pop 1 of 1 goes for 540, which generally from what I see from the set doesn't seem crazy for a name I've also seen a decent bit of, so I'll say that doesn't seem like a wild price there. Also PSA 2, which isn't great but not terrible. PSA 8 CR7 here out of 199 World Cup Stars, and in terms of pricing, this is pretty good because literally less than a year ago you could have got it for 76 bucks on eBay. So, you know, pretty decent. You could have also got it in 2022 for 111. So now you're looking at 550, a cool, 5 to 7x price, no big deal. Jude Bellingham Gold Stadium Club Chrome goes for 550. A Messi facsimile auto that we see a good bit of, 560. That's about where it's been for a long time now. 2022 World Cup Prism Gold PSA 9 goes for 630 here. I thought this was a pretty decent deal if you're a fan of IP autos. Oh, you can see my full screen this week. I do have to pay something. It's like a $30 basketball card. Don't mind me. I pay my invoices, all right? I buy some basketball every now and then. What can I say? I have a soft spot for certain cards. But nonetheless, 1962 Heinerle Di Stefano auto, which, for me as a IP lover, well, for vintage IP autos on cards, I love them personally. I'm a big fan. And so a Di Stefano Heinerle for $690 doesn't seem terrible at all. It's a pretty nice looking auto, pretty clear PSA 9 auto. It doesn't seem bad. It says MK. I'm wondering if that's MK on the back or if the MK is just the autograph itself. No, it's drawn on the back. Someone wrote 58159. I guess some sort of pin or something they're just writing on a card. I don't know what's going on there. Anywho, seems like a decent price if you're an enjoyer of IP autos. I think that was a decent number to get that at. Rodrigo de Paul, PSA 10 for $690. I thought that was fairly cheap for a PSA 10 Gold World Cup winning team. Rodrigo de Paul, sort of Messi's bodyguard on the pitch. Not too shabby. This FHER Di Stefano PSA 2.5, sort of Iconic's overplayed and probably not right, but a memorable sticker in my mind. You got the ominous Di Stefano head floating there in the middle while the action is going on behind him. In terms of pricing, this 2.5 goes for $750. Last SGC 1 did $130. Last PSA 1 did $210. Last PSA 4 did $700. PSA 2 before that did $320. So basically, any way you want to slice this was quite a price, about 2 times anything we've really seen. So that's not bad at all. Take your pick here. 2 Messis. You can get an IP auto from 2020 Chrome Speckle Refractor, or you can get a PSA 6 2004 rookie, which is a really strong price. All Messi stuff is, all the rookies are. A lot of soccer is really strong at the moment. A lot of these iconic cards, a lot of these big cards, big rookies, all this stuff. These could have been had for like $200, probably all day, every day. $2 to $250. Now you're looking at $780. I'd still take it over an IP auto, but that's just me. Still good price and not too shabby at all. You also have Emiliano Martinez, of course, sort of, one of the saviors of the 2022 World Cup final. There you got a PSA 8 for $810. Above it, this was one that I coined in the Vintage Discord. Link down below, as always, to the Vintage Discord. Big fan. A lot of smart folks in there. A lot of people that know a lot more than me. Have a lot cooler cards than me. And I get to hang out and talk to them and annoy them and look at their cards and say, man, these people are so cool. But I'm not. But maybe one day. But I did coin in the Vintage Discord that this was the yellow parallel Pele from the 1950 Aquarella set. You finally got a color match parallel, which is what everyone wants. In terms of the pricing, not strong. 840 is probably about what they are, to be honest, but I think it looks kind of cool, which is weird to say. I just think it looks cool. It's unique. Clearly it's damaged. I'm guessing there was tape over it, which is why it looks this way. I'm not quite certain. But I thought it looked cool. And 840 on that, if you just pulled that out of a PC box, I'd be pretty impressed. But I'm a weirdo, so that's just me. 2022 Prism Gold Paredes PSA 10, 870. Gets a higher number than some of the other Argentine players because it's a PSA 10. But even like Rodrigo de Paul, I'm pretty sure that was a 10 if memory serves me right. Wow, look at that. I remembered something from like 2 minutes ago. Not too bad. What can I say? Seems like a decent price comparatively. PSA 5 here, again, these Messi rookies just roaring, nearly $1,000 for a PSA 5. These could have been had for $200, $250 all day, every day for a couple of years. Now they're nearly $1,000, so hopefully you grab some if you wanted them. You might be able to grab them again in the future. No one's here to say that this is going to stick forever, but it's looking pretty strong at the moment. 2004, number 35 for $900 as well. Again, very strong price as well. Yeah, you can see some wear on there, so I guess I wouldn't say it's necessarily a great looking copy, but it doesn't look bad, and I really like the look of that card, generally speaking. John Moutinho, PSA 9, $900 there. Didn't seem crazy for at least, a semi-notable name from the set. Red Refractor Pedri out of 5, 2022 Chrome, goes for 900. Pedri's still getting some love, doing some good things with Barca generally, and, out of 5 Chrome probably deserves the love, I would say. Color match, all that fun stuff. Rui Patricio PSA 9, 2014 Prism, goes for 960. A silver PSA 9 Messi for 960 as well, which, just based off what we saw the Ronaldo doing and being up 5x, I would assume the Messi's also probably ran quite a ways, so that's probably a pretty good price. Then we have a 1938 Koenig Nasasi PSA 7. I've always said that Koenig's definitely one of my favorite sets in vintage, maybe my favorite. In terms of eye appeal, certainly, that stands out to me. PSA 7, super strong grade. It was a pop 1 of 1 nut higher. There are a few different backs. This is the No Princess Ramona back, the red back down there, as you can see. There's also a solo back and an 08 back. The solo and 08 are rarer, but a PSA 7 is super difficult, and a really nice looking card / sticker. It's more so a sticker. It's pretty thin, generally speaking, and looks really good. I mean, the bottom right corner's got a little something there, a little chip off the edge, but the color match, the gold border, you got Nasasi here, you got Andrade behind him. It's a fun old card / sticker, and yeah, I mean, $9.90 on that feels like a pretty strong price, but at the same time, for, such an iconic set, such an iconic, the word iconic, for such a cool set, and such a cool card, and such a nice grade. I can't fault whoever wants to buy it at that price, but nonetheless, feels decently strong, but also understandable, at least from my eyes. And then top of page 2 here, the first half of the auction block, you got 2 Lamine Yamals, so instead of the gold prisms and the Messi prisms and the highest grade Koenigs you can find and all this fun stuff, you could just have some base tops now, Lamine Yamals, or a base Mega Cracks. Granted, this is an IP auto, I get it. He's probably not going to sign tons of cards in his lifetime, so, you got to buy him now while you can, but 1,000 there on that tops now. Alternatively, a Xavi, smack dab in the middle, PSA 9 for this 1998 rookie. This is a PSA 9, which is a pop 1 of 2, and there are no comps in the past. Just for reference, for the Messi we were talking about earlier, there was a PSA 5 that sold for 900, and a PSA 6 last sold for 650. And as you can see, PSA 6 it could have been had for 250 at the low in 2023 and 2024. So they're doing pretty good. Also, I looked up a Cavani. I don't know why that's here. Wow, what? Okay, sorry about that. I'm just, wasting your time. Don't mind me. But the Xavi, I guess probably why I closed it, it never comped before. But the closest comps were PSA 8s recently for like $75 and $100. So, decent bit of a grading premium there on that 9, to say the least. Let's head on to the top half of the auction block. So we begin with a PSA 8 Top Liga Messi for $1,100. What a price, huh? What a price. Again, could have been had for probably like $300 all day, every day. I remember seeing them on eBay, selling in ComC, and being like, I don't know if I want to pay $300. That's kind of high. And here we are at 12, so, is what it is. I thought this was a decent price if you're a buyer. I mean, $1,200 for gold first-year select, Ronaldo out of 7, patch, PSA 9. Generally speaking, I'm not someone that loves just patch cards. I like patch autos, or if it's just a patch card, I want a really sick patch, especially if it's player worn like this is. But when it's gold, it's Ronaldo, it's first year select, it's out of 7. $1,200. I mean, alternatively, you could get a Kaboom post-playing career David Beckham or a Top Liga Messi. Now, the Top Liga Messi's a rookie, and depending on how you see that, whatever. But, yeah, I like the Ronaldo at that price, to be honest. Variation 2017 Messi at $1,400. I'm pretty sure I remember PSA 10s of this being like $700 to $800. So, doing pretty good. Like most things Messi, and most things just generally that are coveted in soccer at the moment. It's just crazy where we're at. Bukayo Saka up at a PSA 9 at $1,400 in terms of pricing. Didn't mean to click on this, don't mind me. One of the more collectible players in Modern. Actually doesn't seem like a crazy price. We'll see a Jude Bellingham later in this auction that blew this out of the water. So that Bukayo Saka maybe could have been a steal in relation to that. Mario Mandzukic, 2014 World Cup Prism PSA 9 for 14 as well. You have a PSA 6 record, Pele and Garrincha here. Just dropped my ring on the floor, don't mind me. Just fidgeting around. PSA 6 record, though, that's about where those have been, generally speaking. I say that a lot, but, I am speaking generally. Elise Chrome, well, that's actually Prism Gold here out of 10. PSA 8 Rookie goes for $1,500, along with a He Chen Huang PSA 8 Black 2022 World Cup Prism for $1,500 as well. PSA 7 Messi 2004 number 35 goes for $1,600. Like a broken record, this could have been had for, $350, $400 probably pretty consistently. Currently $1,600, so a little bit of a bump. You got a Pepe 2014 Prism Gold next to him for $1,800, and then an IP Auto from 2022 Panini Instant for $1,800 as well. I get why that gets a good premium for the IP Auto, because it seems like generally most Messi IP Autos are just like a baseline, like $500 to $600. This goes for $1,800 because it's got Messi holding the World Cup trophy. I mean, he's happy, he's excited. That's the moment of his career, basically. That's the pinnacle. So I get it, but I also think that this is going to be spammed by the people that get Messi to sign stuff. They're gonna send this in hot and heavy if these prices hold at that. But it'll find a medium. Purple Flood Lamine Yamal rookie, $1,800 there. As someone that basically thinks all Lamine Yamal rookies are just overvalued, I actually thought this comparatively doesn't seem crazy. And I'm also someone, I will say, I like Floods from Obsidian. I just think they look nice. I don't like the Obsidian product as a whole, but I think the Floods look really good. And they're all really low number. There's a few different ones. They've sort of added to it over the years. But PSA 9, also probably not easy. It's a little bit thicker of a card. I think that $1,800 there doesn't seem crazy in a world where every Lamine Yamal seems crazy. Like, if I could have the Topps Now IP Auto and the base Mega Cracks or this Purple Flood, I would take the Purple Flood. Next to it, a Cristiano Ronaldo sticker auto from Obsidian. I would, again, take the Lamine Yamal over this Ronaldo. Maybe I'm crazy. If I had to hold it forever, I'd probably just take the Ronaldo, because you never know with Lamine Yamal. But if I could flip it, if I could sell it, whatever, I'd probably take the Flood. This Merlin does a really good price, $2K on a PSA 9. Now, this is a sticker. It's a nice looking sticker. It's early Manchester United days. But last sale of this, goodness, man. I just got so much stuff open. I just got so much stuff open. Don't mind me. Don't look at these prices. Anywho, the only other sale of this, I think, was like $400 or $500 a couple years ago. And now you're looking at 2K. So, decent run up. Not too shabby. Above it, Edinson Cavani. There we go. I looked that one up. Ooh. Back in the day, you could have got it for $50, $60 whenever it was coming out. Now, just a cool 2K. No big deal. PSA 9, though, which is pretty good grade. Chrome Gold Messi next to it for $2,200. This could have been had around $1,000 probably the last year or two, and now you're looking at $2,200. PSA 10s were running around this price for a little bit. BGS 9 here for $2,200 for this Messi 2004 number 62. I actually thought that wasn't a bad price. Now, of course, it's got the BGS sort of stink on it, so make of that what you will. But in comparison to some of the PSA 5s or 6s that we see at like $800, $900, I think a 9 there is not too shabby. 2014 out of 199 blue matchups for $2,200. This actually doesn't seem crazy in a world where, all this, basically everything's going crazy. I mean, Ronaldo sticker auto from Obsidian or blue matchups. I think the blue matchups looks pretty good. Now, this has ran a little bit, but not as crazy as a lot of Messi and Ronaldo stuff, so I think that that's not a terrible price. Now, granted, it is raw, so that's always a little nervy, but nonetheless. Red Wave Messi PSA 9 goes for $3,100 there, which I also did not think was a crazy price. An out of 5 Red Wave. Now, it is Wave. People generally like the True Reds or Red Sapphire. Red Wave isn't the most beloved. But in a world where basically anything Messi goes for good numbers and you can get a Topps Chrome Red out of 5, I think for $3,100 doesn't seem bad to me, but that's just me. 1970 Crack Maradona PSA 5 rookie, second year, but he's got the Pog. This is during a year where he has a few different releases, and this one, at least in my opinion, is one of my favorite caricatures in vintage, if you consider 1978 vintage. And in terms of pricing, not a crazy price, but I also think that the centering doesn't help this at all. A lot of people really love centering, and a lot of people really focus on it, and this one doesn't have great centering. The registration's also a little off. The colors don't match up perfectly. I think that registration and colors matching up perfectly are different terms, but I just use them interchangeably, so I'll specify there. But I can see why it did a little light comparatively to what it could have done, mostly because of the centering and maybe some of the colors being offset as well. All to say, still an okay price, I guess. But Above it, Schweinsteiger Gold Prism, of course. This is World Cup winning year for Germany. 3,500 there on a PSA 7. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's probably the all-time high. And in a world where all the other 2014 Prisms going at all-time highs, it sort of makes sense. 1932 Miazza here, Damen Italia Caramel Cafe, which I can't add a whole lot. I don't know about the Italian pre-war area, but I do know that I've never seen this sell before. So, throw that out there. The most notable, if not one of the most notable pre-war players, early sticker out of Italy, PSA 2 for a good price point here. Pop 1 of 1, none graded higher. Fun to see that go. As someone that doesn't know a whole lot about this space, I just like seeing these things sell because it at least gives me data points to look at and sort of compare cards to different cards and see what people are paying for different stuff and sort of how they value it as an absolute noob outsider that knows nothing. So, cool to see that run. 3,500 there. You got a gold Mosaic World Cup Messi for 3,600 next to it. I looked up the blue earlier. I already told you about the pricing there, so don't mind me. But a PSA 9 gold last year did 1,700 for this Messi Mosaic, and now a PSA 8 does 36. No biggie. Double the price for a grade lower. Not too shabby. Above it, a out of 24 American Stars and Stripes Lionel Messi out of, well, I already said out of 24, but PSA 10 goes for 3,700. I always like the unique parallels for different Prism products like this, where clearly it's 2024. The out of 24 is a fun nod to that year and it being in America and all that good stuff. So as an American, I do like it. I will say I don't have any of these parallels, though, which maybe makes, it doesn't make me any less American, but you could say it does if you like. Nonetheless, actually grades pretty well. Pop 1 of 13 and PSA 10, which I found to be surprising. PSA 8 Messi Monday Chromo has just ran. This seemingly is sort of making its way up there because the PSA 8 in the past, again, could have been had for $650 to $950 all day, every day. And now it's 3,700, which is, a little higher, a little bit of a bump, a 400% increase. How long did that take? How long? It'd probably take a while, wouldn't it? No, it took 2 or 3 months probably. But just crazy to see. Also, old cert, also off center. So man, the things that typically would cut against something like this don't matter. People are just excited. They're excited, and they got money to spend, I guess. Topps Merlin Gold, Lamine Yamal out of 50 for 3,900, PSA 9. A Charlton, PSA 8. This will be the first of many. Well, I guess we saw the Maradona earlier, which is relatively high grade, but there's a lot of high grade vintage here, some pretty notable items, and this is one of them, a Bobby Charlton from the 1958 AMBC set. This in a PSA 8 goes for 3,900. In terms of past comps, what do we have? We have 2,500 and 1,100. Now, granted, I guess it could be the scan. This one doesn't look as white or as crispy as some of the others, but in the past it was as high as 7K, so this isn't an all-time high, and it's been as low as 1,100. So, 4K is kind of nice and in the middle, but certainly still a good run off the last couple sales. I thought this was kind of low. Now it's a PSA 8. There's 2 higher, but a gold sort of, I think this is Terrace level select, Cristiano Ronaldo out of 10. I thought that was a decent buy. In a world where this type of stuff usually does crazy numbers. It was first year select, but we saw a first year select Messi run on one of the premieres for 400K black. And, I know that this is third year select, and I know it's a gold, not a black, but 4K, it's 100th of the price. That seems all right to me. Julian Alvarez, Prism Gold here, rookie, 2022 World Cup, PSA 10 goes for 4,300. This Messi above it, I thought this was a better buy personally than the other Mosaic, but for all we know, the winner of the other Mosaic could be the winner of that Mosaic, and maybe they went home with both, So 3,600 here, 4,300 here. I would take the Barca jersey and jersey match for sure, even though it's a grade lower, but fun to see that run. Next to it, a World Cup Stars Black 1 of 1 Fabio Cannavaro, PSA 7 goes for 4,600 as well. Not a whole lot to comp that to, but seemingly a decent price, I would say. Definitely didn't fly under the radar by any means. Next to it, you got an out of 99 2018 Prism World Cup Cristiano Ronaldo Auto, which is on card and looks pretty sharp in terms of pricing. Past sales, 3,100, 6,100. So actually not all that crazy. Maybe there would have been a lower sale in 2023 or 2024, but we'll never know in this particular grade because it didn't happen. Above it, this is the Jude I was referencing earlier. I mean, the Bukayo Saka was 13 or 1400. This is 5400, which, you know, I like. Well, I say I like Jude. I don't know if I really mean that. I mean, I think he's a good player is more so what I mean. And you know, so I get it to some degree, but 5400 is pretty nuts, especially when there's 410s out there. And there was a 10. Well, I did look up the pricing on this. There was a 10 that had sold, or actually a 9 that had sold back in 2023 for $950. So, or $995. So pretty decent. Back then in 2023, PSA 10s were doing 35 to 4K, and now you got a PSA 9 doing 5. So not too shabby. Now, granted, it hasn't sold in 2 years, so I think that also is something to be considered as well. Next to it, Messi autos. Take your pick. You can have the more genuine-looking sticker auto here from 2015 Select out of 20 blue PSA 9, or you can have the 2018 out of 99 World Cup Prism on-card auto that looks like a coat hanger, which is no bueno. And same exact price, so take your pick. Personally, I would take the autograph that I think is actually genuine. Interesting to see the Ronaldo and Messi. Like, the Messi still does a good bit more, another $1,000, even though to me that's not an authentic autograph. I would take the Ronaldo all day. However, I do always think that the Messi autographs in the sets with Ronaldo, where Messi's autographs are not authentic, at least in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, I think it hampers or weighs down the Ronaldo as well, because people will always look at the Messi and Ronaldo and think they're comparable, but in this situation, I don't think they are. I think the Messi should be much worse than the Ronaldo, but I don't think people generally will ever think of it that way, because a lot of people don't know or care or whatever the case may be. So interesting to look at. You also have another Messi auto here. This one again looks more genuine, sort of a seemingly low price, at least to my mind. I remember his first year finest MLS stuff doing like the out of 99s and the out of 50s were like 2 to 3 to 4K, it felt like, all day every day. And now an out of 10 BGS 9.5 with the 10 auto is only 6. That feels like at least a relative deal compared to what else I was looking at. I don't know exactly in terms of this comp, but just throwing that out there. Kaboom Lamine Yamal PSA 9 for $6,300. I looked at the pricing of this because I was interested. Not really matching up with some of the Lamine Yamal market. Like back in January, this was actually a $2,000 to $3,000, well, close to $3,000 card all day, every day. At its peak, it hit like 8-ish, and now it's down to 6. So for some reason, this card actually hasn't tracked with Lamine Yamal's market holistically. Lamine Yamal's market really soared and then has sort of stayed there. This card didn't soar as much and actually came back down a little bit. So maybe it's a relative deal, you could say. You know, I'm not much of a Kaboom guy, but would I rather have a Kaboom or a Mega Cracks PSA 10? And you can probably, you know, keep a few grand with the Kaboom. I'd take a few grand in the Kaboom personally, but I will not be taking either of them, to be honest, though. Cristiano Ronaldo Green Select here from 2017. I thought this was a decent deal. You know, I know it's sticker auto. People hate sticker autos, but patch auto, out of 5, green, color match, jersey match, all that good stuff. BGS 9.5 with the 10 auto. I didn't think it was bad, you know. Out of anything we're looking at here, I would take it. You could argue maybe the Messi Inter Miami, but I don't like Messi Inter Miami stuff the way some people seem to. So I take the Ronaldo. But again, that's just me. In this row, take your pick of the Messis. You know, assume that with the other ones you would get cash as well. You'd get whatever the cash difference is, because you might just say the PSA 6 71 bits because it's the most expensive, and I get that. I'd probably take the Super, even though it's Stadium Club Chrome. I think it's an insert as well, but it's still a Super Messi, and the cheapest one in the row. I'd take that, you know, personally. 6,600 there, I think that's a deal, which, you know, is interesting. It's just sort of a sign of the times, I guess. Got a striped jersey tie-dye as well, PSA 10 for 7,800. That could have been had for like 2K, I think, back in the day. Yeah, literally just a month ago it was 3,900, and also 3,000, and in March it was 2K. And in August of last year, it was 1,700. So, you know, cool little 4X as well. The PSA 671 bits, this is the all-time chart, you know. Not, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I mean, relative obscurity, of course, back in the day, you know, Messi wasn't, I mean, he was still big during this time, don't get me wrong, but this was seen as just like a base card that was pretty accessible. And nowadays it's seen as, you know, one of the best or most iconic cards in soccer. And, of course, during 2021, it ran wildly when everything else ran. But now soccer's sort of running on its own, and this could have been had for around 2K at times at the all-time low. 2 to 3K all day, every day. And now we're looking at about 12. And this is not an all-time high price because of this February 2021 sale, but it's probably like the second or third highest price ever, which is pretty solid. Beyond that, a red blue wave Messi Ronaldo PSA 10 for 16.2. I looked that one up, but I closed it. There were only a couple sales really because it's a pop 1 of 8 and kind of hard to find. Those sales in the past were, I believe, 4 to 6K or something of the sort, maybe 8 at the highest, but quite a bit less than what we're currently looking at. Eusebio rookie, this says rookie. It's not technically a rookie, but it's his early iconic card that, is pretty, at least relatively available compared to the others. Like a 61 Eusebio is insanely hard to get. And this in a PSA 8 is 16.2K. In terms of past sales, you got 9K, 32K. Now this is Velita back. I probably should just take Velita out of this because the Velita backs are a bit rarer. But you're seeing 9K, 34K. Let's just make sure that's not Velita. It is not. So that was seemingly the all-time high sale. And then you have 5K as well. This is a miscut one, so really this is like a PSA 5 or 6, depending on how you see that. But in terms of the prices we're looking at here, 5K, 34, 9, and 16. So somewhere in the middle, but certainly up from the last PSA 8 sale of 9K. Next to it as well, as you can see, I was watching it, clearly not participating, just an outside viewer. PSA 8 of the Beckenbauer Bergman. Personally, one of my favorite cards from the vintage era in terms of look. I just think it looks great. Some people, I've seen some takes where people don't like it that much. They don't like the jerseys as much, and but I just think it looks great, man. It's full size, sort of like a typical card. Got the ball in the air, sort of juggling it on the side of his foot. I think the kit looks pretty good, but, to each of their own. I just think it's an amazing looking card, and, while I hate using the word iconic, this one certainly is. And a PSA 8 is a hard grade pop 1 of 8, just 2 higher. In terms of back, always take a look at the back of these just to make sure they look good and they're not, like, missing text or anything. This one looks crispy. There's this little... it's a gift and a curse with these PWCC scans. You can zoom in and see that little something right there. I think that looks like a cutting line almost, but the back of the card doesn't seem all that off. Well, I guess it is kind of off center if you think about it, because like this should be in the middle. So yeah, I guess the back is pretty off center. It's got this little something. I mean, if you want to be harsh on it, maybe you could say it's not an 8. The top right corner on the front, I don't know. We just lost it, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. Give me a moment. Oh, it's over on the side. Okay. But the top right corner is a little something. I don't know. If you want to zoom in on these, you can always be a little harsh if you want. But ultimately, feels like an 8 might have been a little generous based off the back, but ultimately, doesn't seem totally unfair at the same time. In terms of pricing, last sales were 8K. You also have another sale for 8K, then 13, then 38, then 66. So, as you can tell, during the hype of vintage, the peak of vintage in 2022, because the soccer market in terms of modern peaked in 2021, but vintage actually peaked in 2022, as you can see here. But then when it peaked, a lot of people went out and found some of these, and then they brought them to auction. And so then in 2023 and 2024, people started to see more and more of these, and they're like, are they going to come out forever? How many are there? Everyone starts going crazy and thinking the sky's falling. And the cards definitely fell a good bit, but seemingly have hit their bottom here. We have not seen a PSA 8 sell in 2.5 years, and so I think that is probably, what caused this bit of a run. Have we seen a 9 sell? Is there a 9 here? There's just autograph 9s, so that one's pretty beaten up. That went for $1,200 in 2022, and this 9 actually did sell for $81,000 in 2022. But to be fair, I mean, if an 8 now is selling for $18,000, I would assume the 9's at least like $50,000 or around $50,000. So I mean, still probably down, but not as substantially as some of the other ones could have been. And then finally, top 3 this week. Just what a crazy week, man! Like. It was crazy. It's just a crazy week. So many big cards, so many big prices, and it's just like another weekly soccer auction. It's just crazy to me. PSA 9 here goes for $2,100. I say $2,100. It's actually $21,000, a little bit more. But yeah, Diego Maradona PSA 9. This one is pretty OC. I mean, you can just see it from here, left to right. Again, iconic. Maradona early release, not rookie, but it's like rookie, constellation. I don't know. On some of these guys, I'm more lenient in vintage if people want to use rookie on stuff like this, where like, you know, it depends on how you collect, really, because some people might say that the first Panini issue is their rookie, right? Like with the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, people say that's a rookie because it's his first Topps, and people like Topps, so they look at the Topps as being the first Topps and that being more meaningful. I could see that being the case here, where you're like, the first Panini sticker is very meaningful, and I think that has a certain rationale that is definitely worthwhile. And so, I'm not going to hate on the rookie listing here as much as I would elsewhere, but 21K there. In terms of past pricing, you have 10K just a year and a half ago. You probably then have some other high sales. 16K in 2022, 30K in 2022, and then 11K in 2020. And actually, even pre-boom, this was like I guess in 2019 it was 1K, but then also 2,300, and then 2,400 and 2,900. So even pre-boom, this was a, most of the time 2 to 3K sticker. And 21 now certainly is still a strong price, but doesn't seem unjustified. An 8 to 10x from pre-boom to now across the board is fairly common. Flawless Cristiano Ronaldo, I think I closed that, so we're not really going to talk about it. Clearly this got quite a premium for being a PSA 10 card. If you zoom in on the auto, it is a little streaky. It's probably a 9 auto, so if you wanted to take away from it in that sense, you could. I will say this is probably one of the more entry-level flawless Ronaldo cards, in the sense that International Icons isn't widely coveted. It's the out of 25. And so, all that taken into account, 25K here for a PSA 10 does not seem cheap at all. And then finally, the Palarex Johan Cruyff. This is one of his more beloved rookies, if not his most beloved rookie. I do believe that the Sicker Verlag was a year earlier. I could be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. And the Sicker Verlag is a dual panel sort of thing, so it's not people's favorite. This is a really good looking image. It's got, the classic sort of portrait. Good colors as well. This is out of Portugal. This in a PSA 7.5 goes for, 27? Yeah, pretty decent number. The back, I have seen some people talk about the back. You have this M up here that's sort of missing some lettering a little bit. It's a little smudged in different places, so the back I don't think holds up the best compared to some of the other ones you'll see. It does also have the eye appeal sticker, and I don't know why Fanatics is choosing to do this lately. I don't know if it's some sort of, gaslighting of trying to erase anything that PWCC did, but they just, don't put this in the title, and I'd be furious if I was a seller of this and you wouldn't put that in the title, but ultimately still did a good number, so, is what it is. But in terms of pricing on a PSA 7, 7.5, or an 8, this same exact one actually sold for 19.2. I say same exact one. I don't think it is. I just figured it would be. It is not. Okay. Apparently there's more than one 7.5, but this one's a little OC. That went for 19.2 in 2022. You also have a PSA 7 in 2022 that did 16K. And then sort of pre-boom in soccer, a PSA 7 did 3,300. So all-time high price for that. Not too shabby, and not too shabby of a week overall. A very, very hot week. Tons of big cards, just tons of big prices. It was ridiculous, and I find it hard to believe that it will be top next week. It would seem that the high prices are bringing out big cards, and it doesn't seem to be, sort of thwarting that thirst. So next week, what do we got? We start with PSA 10, number 89. We have a PSA 8, Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks. We have a BGS 6.5, 71 bis. The rookies are coming out to play next week. You also have some national landmarks as well. There you go. PSA 3 Aquarella. PSA 7 Campio. Doesn't seem to be as big of a week. You got a Cyrillic Messi there, which is a fun one. Kaboom Mbappe. This is not a rookie Ronaldo, and they didn't label it as that, so good on Fanatics for that. Messi color, Ronaldo patch auto. Looks like a little bit less of a week. Fun George Best there, but still a fun week. I'm sure it'll still play itself out pretty well. Gold Ronaldo, tons of good stuff in between. So hopefully you enjoyed. As always, if you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Anything you bought, sold, thought sold high, thought sold low. I don't know. Would love to hear about it. Comment down below. If you want to see more videos like this as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.